What's up, people? This is EMB, right? Real quick, I'm gonna introduce everybody else, right? But there's a thing. I always hear this thing about the closest people to you will tell you where you're gonna be, right? So it just so happens that we're gonna do this little podcast with three of the closest people to me. So we're gonna talk about the actual power of music, right? We have my cousin on the right side of the screen, Don Rosario, and I gotta silence my phone, but it's okay. Don Rosario. We have
that's his theme music.
Yeah, that's it. You got us jealous now.
He was calling you on purpose just to make sure.
So this out like. Then we got Jopra over there in the bottom right, which is my sister, and we also have Mr. Anonimo. Anonimo, another artist, right? Don Rosario has been promoter, been slash cousin slash what else you
slash prison mate slash
that's inmate M27642 sir. Slash, I mean, you've done a lot of stuff. You've been doing a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah.
All right, and then Jessica over here about to start a podcast in a little bit too. To be able to find everybody, we're gonna have that in the links in the description, just so you know. And then Mr. Anonimo.
Anonimo.
What are you?
Mr. Anonimo. Richie's been a hell of a producer, fire producer, right? Fire, amazing producer. Has dealt with FM radio, FM or no XM radio, right? Or yeah, you were XM.
In
XM
Miami
series,
well, SBS
in
radio.
SBS studios. I mean SBS Spanish Broadcasting System with all 5 stations it was at that time, I think.
Yeah, Miami. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also me. I'm just trying to get the screen cleared so you could be able to see me. Anyway. So the power of music. We're gonna go back and forth about a lot of stuff, right? This music is freaking amazing. Just real quick, there was something that I saw that tripped me out, right? A whole bunch of sayings with different people with the music, where Aretha Franklin says something about music does a lot of things for a lot of people. It's transporting for sure. It can take you right back, years back, to the very moment certain things happen in your life. It's uplifting, encouraging, and it's strengthening. Okay. When I heard that, I was like, that like kind of summarizes a lot of stuff about the music. There was a question Jessica had the other day that that made sense and made me think about it like crazy. So I kind of wanted everybody to kind of go back and forth about the same thing. When was the first time you've actually heard music and you were like, oh my God, this is freaking amazing. This is awesome. This is awesome. I love this right here. Whether you decided to do something with it or whatever it is, but and more than likely, like Richie was saying, this normally it was in your adolescence, in your childhood and everything when you hear the music like that. So, but what was the feeling that you got when you got to first actually enjoy? You heard some music and you're like, oh wow, that's freaking awesome, or it did something to you in your life. Does anybody have any kind of experiences?
Not offhand. I said always, obviously in our household, we always have music playing all the time. All the time. It's like background noise. It's just to filter the thoughts. It helps everybody sleep better, clean better, eat better. You just feel better. But I think, and now this is gonna sound cheesy, real cheesy, but I like music that is heartbreaking, that makes you feel pain, that you almost feel the pain that person felt when they were writing it. Yeah. That's when I hear a song like that on the radio, I think to myself, damn, this person felt some pain. And then I can connect with that person. I'm like, I can, I can mess with that, because I feel like a lot of people. All right, so Billie Eilish, I know white people, I know. We're not going to talk about this, but Billie Eilish.
Billie
right?
Eilish? Billie Eilish? Oh my God. I'm trying to go to a concert the other day.
I forget what song it was, but I was in the car one day I didn't know what the hell this chick was. And I'm sitting there song and I'm like, oh, I like this. And I'm listening to the words, but I felt like the tone, the everything, like I felt this chick knows what pain is. Like
Took you to another place.
it took you to another place where you can feel it. And okay, so skip that part. You know, to back in the day, I want to say the first time I ever felt like, oh, maybe I should try this. I know it sounds, like I said, cheesy, but Freddie, when you were younger, you know, because I think we all think that we're still young, but when you were younger,
I'm still a whippersnapper.
You used, obviously, you still rap all the time, but before you just like everybody, like you just did it all the time, everywhere. And that inspired me. And I was at that time, I was in middle school. Okay. And I remember you, all your friends, everybody used to rap. And I thought that was the coolest thing, that for some reason, I thought that, oh, wow, I could be a rapper too. I was like, you know, I learned over time that not so much, but it did inspire a little bit. And I tried for a minute. I got it. You know what else helped me? I got into the library, spent a lot of time, hours looking at poetry, love poetry, and things like that, to feel, you know, how people express themselves, talking about, you know, romance and all these different things. And then I would think about those same words and how to spin it into a song or something like that. So I used to, like how they say, you know, songs are just telling a story. That's pretty much what it is. So I would write stories and make it into poetry or songs or whatever you want to call it, because it's all related. And I remember there's this guy, I'm not gonna name him. I was dating him in high school, and I actually wrote like one of those like black and white composition books. I wrote a whole book on poetry, on our relationship, on how I felt about us, on our love. I even named future children we would have. I mean,
did somebody find that book later?
No. Well, turns
Lily
out
was in one of them.
No. Turns out he kept the book after we broke up. So I've been told. But at this point, I don't speak to him. It's been a very long time. So I don't know if he's married now. So I don't know if maybe he still has it tucked into a pillow somewhere, or he burned it because his wife made him. I have no clue.
I gave it to his mom.
Maybe he wiped his ass with it. I don't know.
No, his wife's name might be Jessica. And then you hear the kids' names and you're like, why does that sound so damn familiar? The book. So,
he was inspired.
Manifested.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. That's funny. I didn't realize that was with the music and everything that what I was doing there even affected you like that. I didn't even notice that.
Well, yeah, and it made me go deeper into writing. It made me have appreciation for writing a lot more. So that led down to reading, you know, which I love reading, audiobooks, whatever, anything that's going to help me in my life, or just whatever the story is, it's good. I'm good for it. But it all goes down the same path.
That's good. Richie, remember in Cleveland we used to go to the library and get these these book reports, that we used to do these book reports and everything so that we can get tickets to go to Cleveland Indians games. You recall that? And so we used to go to the library a lot, and we used to do that a lot. And it's like the funny thing is, I thought about this when you were talking about it the other day, Jessica, and one of the main things that ran into my head was, I remember Michael Jackson like crazy, right?
Oh,
Because mommy used to tell me, no, you used to always dance around and always look for a show and this and that. But the reality was, every time Michael Jackson came on, whether it was Thriller, Beat It, whatever the hell, I was like, I went crazy off of that. Like I felt that music and I loved it and I wanted to put on a show. Like that was not even the hip hop artists and the rock or anybody else, but it's like, but with Michael Jackson, that the love that he had for the show and for the music,
The
that really did
performance.
something to me. The performance, yeah, the whole thing was
The whole
like, I
package.
was like, damn, I like that, I love that. And then when it came to, remember when what was it? I was 12 years old when the life changed for our family. And when we moved, like half of us moved there, whatever, to Miami, New York, and all that stuff. But what ended up happening was I started my emotions, same things you were talking about this ago. My emotions, I started putting it down in the form of poetry. So I started writing like love poems. I was feeling hurt and all this and that. Or I had a lot of feelings that I was thinking that I wasn't loved or whatever, which is bullshit. But whatever, I was feeling some kind of way. So I was writing all this love stuff. And I was writing love songs from 12 years old until 16. When somebody was like, hey, let's go to the studio. I'm not gonna say where I was at or what the situation was or whatever, but it was like, no, let's go to the studio and everything. So we went to the studio and then I heard him, he spit some stuff on the record. And when I heard it, I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, it's all right. But I said, you know what? Like something mommy always taught me. Like I can't say that it's whack. I gotta show him it's whack. so that was the mentality. So I grabbed that notebook, the same thing that you were talking about, that like the composition book, but no, I grabbed the one subject notebook and I wrote 16 bars on every single page. I think I almost finished that book that night. All I did was I went home. That night I went home, I grabbed the bottle. Well, I always had a bottle anyways, but whatever. Then and then I just started writing raps. And I started writing raps and raps. I wrote 16, then I went to the next page. 16 went to the next page. 16 and went to the next page. I was like, oh shoot, I like this. And I was like, it was another way that I could express myself instead of just keeping it at the love type of poetry and everything. But I've been into poetry ever since I was 12 years old. Like,
so really you started because you saw somebody else was whack and you're like, let me show you how it's supposed to be done.
In a sense, that was the mentality. I'm not even gonna say he was whack. It was to me,
that you could be better. You knew exactly. your potential. You know what you're capable of, and you were like, all right, I got that.
There you go. That's better put, right? We're trying to be politics today. So
I don't want nobody showing up at my front door and telling me, listen, what you said the other day. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know that
girl. Yeah.
Alex, you have any experiences with
I think since I was little, I listened to music from so many different places. Like I don't even understand half of the music that I listen to. No, for real. Like I listened to the other day, I was listening to a playlist in French.
And you don't know nothing in French.
I don't understand what they're saying, but it's like the music is universal. So no matter if you don't understand the lyrics, you can still feel it. You feel it. Yeah, you feel it. So it's like, it's weird. You don't understand what they're saying specifically, but you could tell if it's a love song, if it's like a little bit more hood, like if it's like French rap. So I've always been into different type of music. Like actually I used to get made fun of in school because they were like, you listen like to the weirdest music because like you're only supposed to listen to this type of music or that type of music. And I was always listening to all types of music, you know? I listened to Mexican music before, I guess it was cool to listen to it, you know? Now, where because in Queens, now there's a lot of Mexicans. At the time when I was growing up, or we were growing up, there weren't a lot of Mexicans. So it was like, why are you listening to Mexican music? There's not even the Mexicans here. But you had influence from the novelas. The novelas would play Mexican music, and I was like, oh, who's that? You know? And then I would look up the music, and I always like going to the stores where you buy the records. Back then it was tapes. That's the earliest I remember. My mom had the record player, but the record player was kind of like for like real old music. And then I remember the first time I listened to rap was with our uncle Ancito, which he put Heavy D.
Really?
Yeah, that was the first time I listened to rap. He always
How
used
old
to
were
put-
you?
Oh, I was little. I was real little.
Oh, you're about to get Theo in trouble.
Yeah. No, he was young at the time too, though. He was really young at the time. And he always used to listen to rap, but it was different type of rap. I'm not talking about the rap that we
That's
listened to
on,
growing
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
It
So
was
back then it
different.
was a hip, a
Yeah,
hip.
yeah, like that type of rap.
It was the
Yeah, just
clean
flowing stuff.
version.
The clean
Yeah,
version, yeah.
The
So
PG-13.
yeah,
It
so
was
heavy,
fun.
More like
so
G.
exactly. So Heavy D was like a big influence. And then I started looking into other rap. I used to listen, but when we used to listen to rap, I used to listen to it in secret because if you listen to rap, you were getting in trouble, you know. So I used to have Wu-Tang Clan and all that stuff, but in secret until one time my mother heard in the car because I used to go warm up the car. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go warm up the car in the winter," and I used to put the music in, and I'll turn it off right before she got in the car and pull out the
The
tape.
CD. Oh, the
No,
tape.
no, it
Yeah.
was a tape at that time. And I remember I forgot to take the tape out and I had left it on. So like I had turned off the car, but I didn't turn off the radio. So when she turned it on, I was like, oh my God, I'm in so much trouble right now. And it was blasting Wu-Tang Clan. And she's like, so I turned it off real quick. And she was like, well, no, I kind of like that. Put it back on, put it back on. And I was
So
like,
you didn't get a pela that day, basically.
nah, actually Wu-Tang kind of
Saved your life. He
it
saved your life.
Wu-Tang saved my life because it was the first rap group that I could listen to where she was like, "Oh, I kind of like how that sounds," you know?
Wu-Tang converted your mom into a
Yeah,
rapper.
into a rap fan.
Yeah.
But before that, yeah, of course, Michael Jackson was worldwide, like the biggest influence. You know, I had the Michael Jackson doll with the stand, with the microphone, with the glove,
Sure.
and you know, I had the Michael Jackson, the concerts on tape, on VHS.
Wow.
So
Hey, we went to a concert, Richie. Remember that?
Which one?
Do you
talking
remember
about?
that or no? Michael Jackson concert.
Michael Jackson? I do not
Yeah.
remember. I must have been
We went to a
really
Michael
good.
Jackson concert. Yeah, I guess you were a little, but you're like you're younger than me. But still, like I remember that. And one of the main reasons why I remember it because mommy was going crazy. Mommy was
When is she not going
How old
crazy?
was it? How old
You
was
put
Yeah,
music on
I
and she
don't
goes
remember
crazy.
exactly, but it was in Cleveland. It was a long time ago. It was in Cleveland, and I remember that because mommy was like going
Wow,
crazy
you
off of that. I was like, "What the hell?" I mean, but then I was loving it too. So, so I remember that. But
no,
now you were saying I listen.
I was, but I listened to everything. Like I was really into bachata always, and that wasn't cool to be into bachata at that point. Like bachata now we got aventura and everything that made it like worldwide acceptable. But I remember at that time when I listened to bachata, like
It was like the old people music.
yeah, like, that's
The
like
old drunk people music.
yeah, that's our parents' music. You can't be listening to that, you know.
Mhm.
And I really was into it for the same reason that Jessica said. It connects with you. Even though at that point when I listened to bachata, I hadn't had no girlfriend that I broke up with, or
But it makes
know?
you feel like,
but you
oh,
felt the emotions. Yeah.
Emotional.
yeah, you were like, damn, she did you like that? She cheated on you with your best friend? That's not nice.
It made you feel like it happened to you. That's the crazy part. You always feel like it happened to you. You get into the role. You could feel the whole story. And then when later on, when I was like 20 something or maybe 19, when like Zacaria Ferreiras came out and all these old school bachateros before Aventura, oh man, those were the times. Those were like the real Cortavena bachateros, like they say.
Teodoro Reyes.
Teodoro, all those, Teodoro, that was from Tioancito the first time I heard Teodoro. He was the one that was always playing Teodoro.
Was he your first DJ? It seems
Who?
like
Tioancito?
Theo.
yeah.
Well, he was a DJ. He was.
No,
He had
I'm
all
saying,
the-
but your
yeah.
first experience with all these musics is like
He was your
he's-
personal DJ.
Yeah.
He was I would say he was one of my biggest influences, but really my mom, because my mom the way that she woke us up was with music. So it was like, oh, you don't want to wake up? Okay, I'm gonna blast this like full volume. And then it's like every Saturday and Sunday you had to get up early because she would blast it full volume.
Sure.
And you wake up literally every weekend with music blasting. Um, but she got me into listen to other music also because she used to listen to music um just instrumentals, like what's an example?
Beethoven and things like that.
Yeah, like that type of music, like Beethoven. There
Was she
one-
like my mom dealing with Kenny G and all that stuff too?
Yeah, exactly. Kenny G, all that type of stuff. So, and then or for like no apparent reason that didn't make sense, she would blast what's this guy's name with the really deep voice that it was like, baby,
Barry White.
Barry White. I want to get I want to take off your clothes. I want you.
I don't know why.
She was getting in the moment.
I'm like, this is not the right time. You gotta change that.
They're like, Mom, this nighttime music, not morning music.
Yeah.
Wait till I go to school. Wait till I go to school.
It's not exactly rated G, Mom. But she was blasting that music early morning, and I was like, so you got a lot of range of music. You used to listen to music from Argentina. My mom used to listen to a lot of music from Argentina, and Sandro from Argentina, which my dad also liked to listen to. So maybe she learned that from my dad. Really, because it's funny because what music used to be in Dominican Republic, I don't know about other places. My mom used to put the old records. It was literally a person talking.
Mm.
It was a person with a deep voice like Freddie or Richie.
Mhm.
And it was like, te extraño. Me haces tanta falta. Tócame. And it was like, what the hell? Like, this is some weird ass
If-
music.
If I would have known, I could have been a singer.
That's what,
Hello?
no,
Right?
but that's
It
literally
could have worked. It could
that
have
Hey.
worked for me.
Let's make a
literally
record
what
and send
was,
it to
though.
DR, Jessica. I got you. I got you.
But now that music is coming to
Easiest record.
retro, a lot of retro things are coming back. Like a lot of old school things are in style now. So you never know. Maybe that music will come back.
Well,
Mm.
nothing is ever new. Nothing is ever new. It's just recycled thoughts. Recycled
So that
thoughts.
was-
That's all it is.
I get it. That was more like spoken word then, pretty much.
Mhm.
Exactly. It was spoken word before they coined that term. It was
Wow.
spoken word. That's
Mhm.
exactly what it was, with the classical music in the background. And it was just a guy talking, just poetry. And that was supposedly music.
Mm.
And it was,
Well, art is dynamic, and
Mm.
the lines get blurred, especially when it gets to poetry, because sometimes it rhymes and sometimes it doesn't rhyme in the most obvious way, and yet it's still poetry. It's
Mhm.
Mhm.
beautiful.
Man, that's a reality. That's a reality. Just because somebody else says that that because it doesn't rhyme, it's not poetic and everything, it's still they're putting the words together and still trying to express something that doesn't mean that it has to rhyme at all.
And, and sometimes it doesn't rhyme in the obvious ABC fashion that it just makes perfect sense to an average person that's listening. It could still make sense when you actually put thought into it. I remember Eminem actually had a problem when people were actually talking about his rhymes, and because it didn't rhyme on a specific album perfectly like the way everybody's supposed to rhyme, and it rhymed differently, so everybody like, hey, it didn't even rhyme, and he had to go off in a moment. I remember that. But yeah,
but he made words that didn't rhyme though. That's
yeah.
Mhm.
It's just you have to think about it. When you really think about it, it's like, yo, that was hot. You know what I'm saying? It was not necessarily, oh, it's easy, yes. Oh, the butter, the cutter. It's like, yo, it doesn't have to always be the exact same way. You can flip things up where you're rhyming every other third rhyme. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe I'll rhyme every line except for the last one, and then I'll do the exact same thing, and then I'm rhyming, that last one is rhyming to the other one.
That's just poetry. Same thing, different types of poetry. That's all. I think it's tacky when every single line is rhyming with the next, with the next, with the next. I think you need to cut it up a little. You know what I'm saying? Because it gets repetitive at a point.
I just think it's different styles. I don't think anything's tacky because it's like music is so subjective, you know? what, you know, I see some artists that are so big, like in Latin America and Spanish music, and I don't get it because I don't like the music, but those people, somebody likes it, right? You know,
Clearly, they're making money.
somebody, they're
That's
making a
true.
lot of money. Somebody likes it, and it comes down to what Richie was saying. It's more like poetry, and I don't feel
Mhm,
like it's music. The guy's like kind
mhm.
of just talking the whole time, and I'm like, but it's not music. It's like the guy's reciting poetry, but
No, he took a trip to the Dominican Republic and he heard the music
hear
from
all
over
that
there.
old music, yeah.
So yeah. So so he's just trying to
That's
continue with the
probably
music.
the old school way in back in the days where they'd have a piano playing in the background as opposed to a DJ in a nightclub. They probably had the piano guy, and then they're like, hold a beat. Yeah. That's probably what it is. Hold the beat. Equivalent nowadays.
That's true
Mhm.
because then look at with in New York when they decided to put on certain old school music and they just looped it and everything. I mean, people started because they have the MCs and everything that like what Julito was doing too, but just being in a sense what Julito was doing, except putting rhyming into it. When you're in the club, just animating, animando la gente y todo eso, and you're just going back and forth, and you're just kind of trying to keep them hyped and trying to keep them in the thing. So you're just talking about, oh damn, look who just walked in the room. Oh shoot, make sure you see the bar so you have some stuff to consume, and this is that, and they're just going back and forth and everything. And then eventually people just started putting putting that whole thing together. They're like, you know what? Let
Well,
me just rhyme on the beat.
DJs are the original hype mans, and then people I think just added hype mans to their act, to their music. They always had a hype man on stage. It didn't even have to be the DJ because they need somebody to amp up the crowd and just amp up everything for them to get everybody moving.
Remember, they're MCs, master ceremonies.
Oh,
Mhm.
I just remember the name of the artist that I was trying to figure out what his name in Spanish. Ricardo Arjona.
Ricardo Arjona.
Ricardo Arjona. He's very famous
I
in
know he's
Latin
huge.
America,
He's
and
I don't
huge,
know.
actually.
it's basically poetry.
Mm.
Women go crazy because it's poetry. He's like, you know, he has like a rock and roll style, but it's literally everything he does is poetry.
Oh,
His
I'm
He's
gonna have to
image,
the
start.
his image is
panty
like the long,
dropper.
yeah,
Is
like
it?
the long hair with the beard and all that, whatever. But he is
Oh
just,
yeah,
he's literally reciting poetry.
I'm gonna have
The
to
the
start.
the ladies
I'm a,
drop their panties for him.
They
of
throw it on
course.
stage for them.
They
With the
don't just
bra
drop it.
too.
They're like, here, toma.
They throw it at him.
they,
They
they
hand
get
it.
that wet. They get that wet.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
But I'd say artists,
Wet ass piece of paper. You mean?
but I'd say artists back in the days were more, they would envelope creatively more before, probably because the music was more immersive. People would listen to the entire album, and they would create an experience in the album, and people would experience it the way it was meant to be at home. But as things transferred over more and more into the nightclub and into dancing, as opposed to like before in the nightclubs, there used to be like tables there and people used to sit and have a dinner and then dance or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It was like the whole, like, it was kind of more formal. The more informal things got, the more just party, drink and party. Yeah. That's when the music started transitioning, and especially with everything now turning into singles, especially nowadays, that the experience is gone, that it's not as easy to come out with something totally off the wall, totally different style. You can still do it, but it just was easier, I would say, to resonate with people back in the days because of the way they consumed the music. They were
but
able
it's
to
but it's
pull
probably the
albums.
easiest time though to do niche,
Yeah,
find a niche
absolutely.
audience and have a smaller. Because I was talking to Freddie about that the other day. I said, you know, this is probably the best time to have a small. I think it's the Grateful Dead, if I'm not mistaken, or another group that they've been touring for years. Their money has always come from touring, and they don't have such a huge fan base. It's just they have a dedicated one.
Yeah.
So everywhere they go, let's say 1,000 people, and each place that they go, or 500 people, whatever it is, that are dedicated to them because it's very niche. Their music,
Hmm.
you know, it's only to a certain crowd of people, and I think it's the best time to do weird music because right now there's rappers that nobody knows who they are, but if you go to their Instagram, if you go to see their shows before this pandemic, you know, they were packing it with a nice amount of people, and I, you probably never heard of these rappers. It's
Mhm.
just that they built their following through social media, through not only their music but their personality,
Mhm.
or doing skits, being funny. Because some rappers now are even kind of like comedians slash rappers. I saw it yesterday in an artist in DR. There's an artist, I forgot his name right now at the top of my head, but he's like a urban rapper, but he does a lot of comedy on his Instagram. So he has like 500,000 followers, super engaged, real followers, and he basically does comedy.
Mhm.
And then if you hear his music, it's not comedy, it's more like street stuff, but he mixes both. He grabs the crowd, he keeps them interested with comedy, and then he brings them over to the music. And
Mhm.
he's doing pretty good, you know.
Hmm.
Uh, and like I said, it's kind of like a niche artist. It's not, it doesn't have like a whole worldwide audience.
Mhm.
But in DR, he's pretty big deal.
Mhm. I would say
Richie,
that in general is good. The only problem is, especially nowadays with the pandemic, most artists, especially niche artists, their income is coming from shows, and you can't do shows. So it's like, how the heck are you going to make money? You're not going to make it off streaming alone. You're just not going to make it, especially on a small market where it's so divided. Eh, it's like you're not going to really. You have to do shows. You have.
I think definitely people have been doing, especially in certain places like DR, have been doing illegal shows you
Mm,
know. So, you know, some artists are unluckier than others because depending where you are, you're not gonna be able to do it so easily. But like DR, these people never stop partying. You know, whatever they say, they still, you know, they're still in clubs. I've seen videos. So maybe
mm,
for those artists, it doesn't matter too much because they're still able to make their money, but definitely in other places. I was telling Freddie what I think some other artists are doing, or is another good idea. In some ways, maybe in another is not such a great idea, is that you could rent a mansion,
mm.
right?
Hmm.
And then you could do a party. If you get in trouble, that's the risk, right? But if you don't get in trouble, you made your money and you keep making shows like that.
yeah,
Um,
you got me thinking about in DR. They were probably like, oh, cerraron la discoteca. Oh, vamos para la casa de fulanito. Que estamos allá. No sé.
yeah, but in DR, you also
So,
have places in El Rio. You have clubs now that are in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah, so
literally.
you're not gonna get anybody complaining about noise or whatever the case is because nobody's
Exactly.
around.
Nobody's gonna say
so,
nothing about noise because nobody lives there. You're next to a river, so people could get drunk and then hopefully
And
not
then
drown.
drown.
Hopefully not drown in the river. And you
but
know, but over there is different because police and everything's on it. You could pay people off. It's way different. You know, I'm not saying you cannot do that here because obviously people do it here, but over there it's
Mm,
probably easier to do it because everybody knows each other. And you go in the middle of
You mean
nowhere,
it's less expensive to pay
less
people off and
expensive.
cops? You can do it for cheaper over there
Yeah.
as opposed to New York. You gotta give me a couple thousand. I'm like, whoa, buddy, take it easy.
Yeah, you gotta be making big time money to be able to pay them off. Yeah, over there
Hmm.
yeah,
is easier.
but there's so much more money over here, anyways. But
Yeah,
Anonimo, we didn't
yeah.
hear like your experience with music, like when you first encountered your love.
Well, music for me has always been in the background. Always loved music when I was younger. Always, especially with my daddy. Mhm. Listening since he was always on the radio, had all the latest music. I would always help him, curious on how he's doing the stuff, and listen to all the music and how he picks music. And this just came in, all that sucks. This is good. And I wouldn't really like know Spanish, even though they speak Spanish. All the songs are in Spanish. I would just love it, but I was not good at Spanish. But I liked it anyways. Oh, this is hot. This is not whatever. You know what I'm saying? I really loved the music, but that gave me an initial love for music, and I still, of course, loved all the other genres. But what got me interested in the art of music and participating in it was, I'd say, the beginning of that was Criss Cross. I remember when they
yeah,
came out.
Jump.
It was Freddie, EMB, and me. We would pretend like we were crisscross, and
Wear your pants
that was
backwards.
that was fun. That
everything.
was really cool. That really inspired me to like and participate in it. And what was the final push was my two favorite artists, which are emotional, very emotional, passionate artists, which is Bob Marley and Tupac. They really drive home for me my passion for music. That it turned from,
You said Bob
oh, I
Marley is
liked
who?
it, yeah,
Tupac,
Bob Marley and
Tupac.
Tupac.
Oh yeah,
They
Tupac. I love
have
both of
Mr.
them.
Shakur.
emotion, a lot of passion when they did their music. Whether you agreed with them, whether you didn't, whether they're crazy, whether they're not, they were passionate. You know what I'm saying? And you feel it. Like, wow! It didn't matter who's either the greatest artist, not greatest artist, but they were passionate, and that's what that's what made music resonate for me. That took it to the next level where I was like, not only can I participate in this with the crisscross thingy, but now it turned it, wow, you can actually communicate emotion with this, like deep, real emotion. And that's where I started like writing little rhymes, but I would always be shy. I don't want to show nobody. Oh. And then watching Freddie also do his thing, EMB, and it was cool, but I would never want to like be in the limelight. I'm like, whoa, I will always write my rhymes and that's it. After years growing up in the radio, doing beats, learning to do beats and all that stuff, just doing so many different things, production, older, I eventually got the idea after doing so many beats. I'm like, maybe I should start like actually producing some music. And I started doing that. Long story short, got married, focused on that. And after that whole situation, I started now focusing more on what I want to do. And all throughout, I was always playing around. Like I would do parodies or whatever, different songs and send it to this person. Or, oh, they say that. And then, oh, I do a parody and send it to them. I started messing with my kids. I've been doing it for years with the kids, doing parodies just for fun. It would be so fun and hilarious, but never serious, like, oh, I'm going to. No, it's always, let me see what I can help this person, or let me help that person. I never do anything for me because I was very shy. But me now that I'm very older, I'm like, whatever. I'm not fazed by pretty much anything right now that I can think of. And I got inspired by some life events, I would say within the past 2 years, that really pushed me. And I was like, yo, and I wrote a song and I sent the song to the guy. And then it was just, he pissed me off. So I wrote a song and I sent it to him. And then after that, I'm like, that was the first song that I wrote that wasn't like a parody, or, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm sending to somebody else. I'm like, let me try to see if I actually can do another song.
Was it in Spanish or in English?
It was in Spanish. It was a trap song. And then
And you were mad at him. So that was a lot of emotion in there.
Then I did another one that was not so bam in your face or whatever, but it was along the same lines, just to see how creative, like, just spice it up, like do it fun. You know what I'm saying? Like different. It's weird. It hasn't been done before. I tried that. And I was like, I can do something here. I felt. So I'm like, okay, let me take this serious. And that's when I started working like a whole year, just writing different ideas. Let me try this style. Let me try that. Let me try to get better at this. Let me try this. Let me try that. Like every single genre of music I can think of, I want to put my toes in it and see how far I can go and see what works and see what doesn't. Just have fun. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I've been doing recently. Very fun.
Wasn't Julito in a group at one point?
No, I think in Cleveland they were, well, that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
He was,
because he had told me, if I'm not mistaken, that he had started a group, and I think he had said that they actually had come out on television or something.
Well, when he was younger, he had, of course, like Freddie was talking about, as kids on the block, whatever, rapping and stuff like that. But now when he was older on the radio,
we're in a rock band too.
He was working with other artists, trying to put them up But he then at the end, before he passed, he was starting to work on himself as well. He even went to Puerto Rico, started working with DJ Nelson. He actually did a song. He was doing stuff, kind of like the Alex Sensation before he was doing the music and all that stuff. Yeah, just on the radio, but he was working on music. It's just, yeah.
So music has been deep. It has been deep, and it has affected everybody very deeply. Because in your family, what was the story of your father? How did because your father has a lot to do with your guys' influence, also, right? Big
Yeah, and
influence.
I was just thinking that. I was like, can you imagine that if our dad wasn't into
Was a janitor. If
yeah,
Daddy
if he was a
janitor.
Yeah.
I would say
That
we'd
would've
all
been a
like to
different story.
clean, but we still like to clean, so that doesn't do anything. So
Right.
but it would change a lot of things, as far as maybe we wouldn't, Freddie wouldn't have interest in rapping. Maybe he'd be chasing tail across the street or something. Who knows?
He still does that. I don't know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
that doesn't really matter. No, but oh, my bad. Love you, baby. No, but so so when it comes to my dad was on the radio ever since I was born, pretty much.
Mhm.
Right, Richie?
But even since the
Listen,
Dominican Republic, he started.
Okay, but what is okay?
Even Brandon's nuts.
Before you go into that, how did your father get into the whole music? Do you know the story, like the beginning? What
he
inspired
told
him?
me I forgot the
It was
details.
the Dominican Republic. He was been in the radio since the Dominican Republic when he was younger. Of course, he went into trade school type things, doing this, doing that, or whatnot. But eventually, I don't know exactly how he got into the radio in the Dominican Republic. But that's where he started. And then when he came to New York, he literally just submitted a demo in New York and started messing around there too. Same thing when he went to Cleveland, and there was really no Spanish radio over there, so
There was no Spanish radio.
yeah, so he started. He rented time and he started doing his own thing over there. Went to Miami. He sent a demo and they took him up right away. And yeah, he's been there since literally still now.
You know what? The stories that I've heard that I have no clue of, that Daddy tells me all the time. Obviously, when they moved to Cleveland and he was doing the radio over there, I was too young to remember, but he said stories about how every one of us would be in the radio station constantly all day because mommy would be answering the phones and picking up whoever was calling. She was like technically the secretary, and he'd be on the radio, and then the kids would be over here. We basically lived
We grew
in
up
the
in
radio.
studio.
This is exactly, it's music. Whether we choose to do it with our life or not, it's always been a part of us in some type of way. It's almost normal.
So how did he make money when he rented time on the radio?
Selling commercials.
Okay.
And that's number one. And number two, he took the opportunity to promote, just like radio is a promotion vehicle. He would use the time to promote shows. He would do shows at a nightclub, local nightclub, and he'd bring every artist. I mean, everybody. Wilfrido Vargas, Johnny Ventura, everybody that was anybody in Spanish music passed through.
Melly Jocelyn.
My dad. And he made money at the door.
Okay, so that was he was the first Hispanic radio show in Cleveland.
Yeah, if you wanted to hear Spanish music in Cleveland, you were listening to my dad on the radio.
There were other Spanish programs, but he was the only hip one. You know what I'm saying? To say like everybody was more old school, or they just be talk or whatever. Like there was very select Spanish programs, but they were not. Nothing was to what he was doing. He was the only fun one that was doing tropical music and Spanish and salsa and Pérez Prado and Tito Puente and all this nonsense. You know what I'm saying?
He was doing it Saturday from 10 to 3, something like that.
It was an hour program.
It was an hour program. I could have sworn no, it was Saturday from 10 to 3 because I remember before we went on that trip to California.
I thought it was Disneyland we were going.
but Daddy was on the radio at that time. It was as soon as he left, that's when things started picking up, and then we took off. But he was on the radio for more than an hour, because that whole thing took more than an hour. So it was from, I think it was from 10 to 3 or something like that. But Saturday. But that was crazy though. The music, you know how music, they say, is a powerful thing, where I noticed, Jessica, we were talking about that yesterday or the day before, about how they use music therapy in a lot of different things. I was reading up on, like, for cancer patients, for a lot of people that are dealing with all this pain. A lot of times they give them the therapy so that you know, it eases the pain. Like, I think Alex was talking about that too, with family members.
I think they people nowadays want to discredit that, but if you really think about it, that's the original therapy, as far as medicine wise, that our ancestors used to use, that we probably just discredit them and be like, all right, we're gonna take over and do this medicine thing or whatever, so we can make money. But back in the day, when you think of Native Americans and they beat the drums, or the Africans, it's all the same thing. That vibration of all of that music is what heals. And some people may disagree, and that's okay, but has been proven over time that frequency changes water alone. Our body is contained mostly of water, and it changes every aspect that's around.
I was seeing that here in the article, it says that music has the potential to help stroke victims. So just the music itself, it does something to your neurons. It stimulates it in a way where you could get your speech back. So when people have a stroke, sometimes they lose their ability to speak. But with music therapy, sometimes they regain their speech just from the types of music that they play for them. And yeah, like Freddie was saying, like EMB was saying, my grandmother, when they thought she was gonna pass away, she did pass away later on, but she was internalized in the hospital, the Jewish hospital. And what they would do is that they would bring somebody with an actual piano, and they would play music for her, and she recovered. So I think music is more powerful than people think, you know, because it's like, oh, she's gonna pass away, and then they're like playing the piano, and it's like, oh, I feel better.
But that's exactly what it does. You don't realize it because it's hard to explain things that are hard to explain. You're like, that's not true. You know, it's easy to just, discredit something if you can't show me hard facts, like how 1 + 1 = 2. If you can't show me that equation, then it's not true.
Well, it's very dynamic, and just like art, which music is an art, it's very in the eyes of the beholder. Some people cannot appreciate the art and say it's not art, when in reality it is art, and it does have healing powers. Some people, or most people, get driven emotionally, and music drives that emotion, and it gets them into the right frame of mind to be able to heal. I remember, it comes to mind, I don't know, just every time music, if you put a certain type of music that is angry, the person, everybody, whether they like the music or not, are just going to get into the exact same mood. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The same thing, you put joyous or happy music, it doesn't even matter if you understand what is going on in the music, the other language, but you hear that, you're going to resonate, and you're going to get into the same mood. It really does.
And I think that people don't realize to the fact that if you are suffering from depression or any type of mood disorder, anything like that, I mean, you have to be able to learn your body and what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And if you're constantly, how you said, listening to rock and roll, or, not that rock and roll is bad or anything, like there's songs that I hate you so much right now, I'm gonna kill you. Like, listening to that 24/7 doesn't help your spirit in any way. It only amplifies that effect within you, and that's what you're going to continue to feel throughout
Like a
the
chronic
day,
disease.
the week. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're just feeding that emotion. But if you feel depressed and you put some happy music on, something that makes you feel joyous, or a song that makes you remember a better time, then you're able to lift up your emotion and get to a better state of mind.
I think that's what religion gets right though, because you have
Mhm.
that a lot in the Jewish and the Christian, and I don't know about the Muslims so much. I cannot talk about them, but um, I was telling Freddie that you know, King Saul in the Bible, when he was going like nuts and whatever, um, before King David was King David, when he just was the cupbearer for King Saul, he would play the harp for him, and that would calm him down, you know. So it's like he was tormented like by demons, figuratively or literally, whatever. And he would play the harp, and that was the only thing that would calm him down. So the only thing that calmed him down was music. That was the power of music. And also, you see in one that they're gonna have a war, and God tells him like, don't use weapons, just blow the horn. So when they blew the horn, supposedly like the walls came down and the people got scared and then they ran away. And there's actually weapons made out of sound. There's actually weapons made out of a specific sound at a specific pitch that can literally kill you,
Mhm.
or drive you crazy. That
Well, yeah, it goes and it messes with your psychological processes.
That's
I
crazy.
believe that's what I believe
Mhm.
they were using something similar to that, possibly
Possibly.
when the United States embassy people in Cuba, I believe it was, were attacked, and they all had headaches randomly out of nowhere. And after so much research, they believe it was a sonic weapon used. Mhm.
Most likely. I mean, it exists. It's been proven that they exist.
Mhm.
They were working on it. And they probably do use it, but they're not going to tell you that they use it because that's,
Of course not.
Of
you
course.
know,
They don't.
uh,
That'll tell you what the
Well,
right hand is doing.
they also say that I don't know if it's true or not, back in the day, commercials and certain programming that they would have, you wouldn't realize, but they would emit a certain frequency to make you feel a certain way. You get what I'm
probably.
saying?
I
Yeah.
would.
And you wouldn't realize, because obviously you don't know what the hell's going on. You don't have a tester. You don't know what's going on. You're just watching whatever's going on. But they're admitting a frequency that is being internalized by us, that is trying to make us feel, whether it's angry, upset, depressed, whatever the case is, manipulating everybody. Basically, that's what it is. It's like the same thing with certain animals. They can hear certain noises that we can't, they get to hear a certain frequency that we can't tap into naturally like that.
Yeah. I
Frequency,
know.
but that's another reason why when it speaks about the different frequencies, there's you get on YouTube and you look at frequency for relaxation or sounds
Mhm.
for this or
Or for
sounds for that.
healing, yeah, they
Yeah,
have a
I
lot of
mean,
different
they have the
ones.
different frequencies for that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
obviously, even with the music that we listen to today, that we hear on the radio or Amazon or Spotify, whatever, it's all this stuff has different frequencies on it. We don't realize it. We don't.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't really look into it as much or whatever it is, so we don't exactly know how it's affecting us. But we do know when we see the effect on our bodies, when we see
Yeah.
the effect in our minds. Because this
Mm-hmm.
the funny thing is the music is I was looking at a lot of stuff, and I know they have a hell of a lot of studies about music, and music can affect your body and your mind. Isn't that pretty much what what we are, our bodies and our minds? And then also when I was talking about the spiritual stuff too, it's like it either enhances us or it puts us in it's just like anything that you could sit there and I could pee in my gas tank every day and it'll take me to where I got to get to, right? I mean, I don't know if that'll actually literally happen, but I could pee in my gas tank every day, for instance, and it'll take me to where I got to get to or whatever it is. But maybe in a week, maybe the next day, my whole engine will be shot. My whole thing will be shot. Then I'm gonna sit here wonder what happened. I put the liquid in like I needed to put liquid in. Okay, I put liquid. It depends on the liquid that you put in. It's like that music that we listen to. It depends on what it is that we fill our minds up with and everything, and fill our bodies up with. So it's like the one of the things that I was mainly thinking about was how when it comes to different genres of music and different eras of music, when it goes from the Bob Marley place, right? And then he passed away the year I was born. And then it's like
wait a minute, are you reincarnated? Is that's who came back?
Don't say nothing. No, so what happened was
Party boy.
Oh, now I understand why you like that ganja so much back in the day. I get it now. I get it.
Yeah, but
we plead the fifth. We plead the fifth.
I don't know what she's talking about. I don't know what she means. So either way, but it's like when it comes to different eras, you notice that like you see a whole movement of different people growing up. The people that are listening to music now, they're growing up on the era of music that is coming out now. That's like really thrown out in our face like that. And it's like, so when we look at it now, we're like, damn, we don't understand it. Why? Because we're not growing up on that music right now. So it's like we're not getting in our minds what they have in their heads right now. So we can't exactly understand where they're at right now because we're not eating the same thing. You feel me? But I don't know. That's to me that
I feel like it's always the same. It's just expressed in a way that they understand that we wouldn't. Because when it's just like slang. When I listen to certain music, I don't understand most of it because the slang words are not words that I'm used to because it's not from our time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could figure it out. I could Google it. I could look it up, or eventually I'll figure it out. But it's saying the same things, just in different ways. It's just like the music now. The pop music now is the same as from before. There is the same messages. It's the same. You broke up with me, broke my heart, or whatever the case may be. The same as before, just expressed in different ways. I was looking at how Katy Perry was so smart because she went on Twitter and she was just looking up things that teenagers were writing, like this guy broke up with me, or I'm depressed about this, or whatever. And she based her songs, the writing of her songs, based on what her target market was, who she was.
Well,
trying
because
to
you
target.
think about it, teenagers, kids. Oh my God! As a child, you would resonate with a song and have it on repeat for 20 hours, and everybody be like, "Please shut up already! Just call the person, like whatever."
Well, in essence, you're brainwashing yourself. In essence, you're brainwashing
basically.
yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And
because you keep reaffirming that same emotion, as opposed to changing it in some way. You're just like, nah, this is not working. It's never gonna work. I need to lose him. He's a piece of crap. Whatever the case is.
Yeah.
That's when you start playing over that song. I hate you so much right now, right?
And a lot of people sometimes just are at a loss of words with emotions a lot of times. When they hear something or somebody else communicating so effectively in the same way or similar to how they feel, they are just attracted to, or they're attached to that person or that song just because they can identify, or they seem to identify with them.
That's what's making Bad Bunny right now so famous. Bad Bunny has hit a nerve. He has tapped into a nerve. He's tapped into a vein of the young people of now. A lot of the stuff that he talks about, same thing, breakups, ese tipo una perra, whatever the heck, but he just says it in his own Puerto Rican style. But
that and the nails. Yeah.
Oh, the nails and his style. Yeah. But like lyrically, if you listen to it, I'm like, yeah, you could compare it to bachata or or any of that stuff. It's the same message, the same thing, just newer style. And he resonates so well. Like I know, I see young people and they're like obsessed with him. You know, it's not like I just like the music. It's like he knows me. You know.
Well, they got the Bad Bunny Crocs now. Everybody wearing Bad Bunny Crocs.
Okay, for real.
I looked up on the website and it was like Bad Bunny's collection. I'm like, since when was Crocs a big thing? I'm confused.
I like
no,
Crocs.
but you know what? That's another thing. What I mean by the power of music. Music we're like the biggest influencers. Honestly, the biggest influencers on society, on the community, on the way we grow up and everything. And like I've heard a lot of people tell me, oh, I grew up on, you know, on Jay-Z or on Nas or on whoever. Like they raised me, because a lot of times, unfortunately, there's normally just one person in the household a lot of times.
Or not even that, because sometimes the parents are mentally checked out or emotionally checked out, that maybe, yes, they put food on the table, or sometimes not even that, but you have a house to go to, but all you had was your music that you can indulge all your words, your feelings, your emotions. And when you rap or listen to other music on the radio, it was kind of like they were loving you back, you know?
Or
That's a
it
good point.
gave you a family as well. A lot of people feel empty, and they find something else, whether it's a different culture, what they even used to, that just seems so inviting to them, even if it's brash or if it's quiet or whatever it is, but it's just different, and they can fit at home there. Then they embrace it and they look for people.
I think where you see that with Wu-Tang Clan, even till now, if you go to some of their artist pages, people all around the world still buy Wu-Tang gear, and they still
hold on to it.
Resonate. Yeah, they still resonate as them being part of the Wu-Tang Clan, because it was a clan, it's a family, it's a gang in a sense.
Like the Bone Thugs and Harmony. You know how many people I see with the BTNA shirts, Bone Thugs and Harmony shirts and everything, and the gear and all that stuff. And then that's another thing too, because with the music, the business aspect of the whole thing, where people been doing a lot of merch, and they've been blowing up off of that. Look at this billionaire now, but that's a whole different story. What's his name? Kanye. Yeah, but that's a whole different story though, because I know he studied a lot about style and
well, he went to art school. Yeah, he went to art school.
He went to art school, so he dealt with it. But that's a different story. But either way, a lot of these people are looking at Nipsey Hussle, how he had the store with his brother and everything. He was dealing with all of that. Then even if the music wasn't working, he was still doing something on the side anyways. No, not on the side. That was, I guess, his main hustle or whatever it was, and then things blew up from there. But either way, these merch is a big thing. A lot of people are getting into merch, because it's like, I even always had in my mentality, I'm like, why am I gonna wear somebody else's clothes? I might as well wear my own. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, why am I trying to make somebody else famous, putting money in somebody else's pocket like that? I mean, yeah, there's certain things that I do invest in, or whatever it is, or I do put my part in for different people. But it's like, I show support. But also mainly, it's like I should be rocking my own gear anyway.
It's like I'm not gonna go out and buy a whole collection of Louis bags, because I ain't trying to make them rich and me poor. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna make my own brand, and you're gonna have to buy from me now. So
exactly. But then the way that that with the Corona situation and all, it kind of threw everybody into their household. They kind of quarantined us.
It forced people to think out of the box. You can't go to work. You can't go outside. You lost your job. Whatever your situation is, think of something that hasn't been done. And I feel like, if you really think about it, back in the day, when everybody had no television, or it was just like 3 or 4 channels on TV, and they only came on at a certain hour.
Yeah, that's why they used to have 20 kids.
But the kids used to use their imagination, and they used to go out and play, and I'm a helicopter, I'm the teacher, I'm doing this. Everybody had a role. They were doing something. Nowadays, you look at kids and they're watching videos on YouTube of other kids playing with toys. I don't get it. I don't get that part. I'm like, you could do that same thing right now. You don't need to watch it on TV.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand that either. Like, why? Why would anybody do that? I don't get it. You know, but so crazy. Like, literally,
No, but
why
it's
would you watch
not.
somebody playing with a toy? You know, like,
I don't get it. I don't
but
get it
Let me give
either.
you a quote here that I love. Is my favorite. Is Maya Angelou, and the famous quote, very famous quote. It says, "I have learned that people will forget what you say. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." It's the
Amen.
emotion, and that's all that we were talking about, the emotion through music and the passion that people have. That passion gets transferred through everything that you're doing, and people can feel that.
It's funny because even
It's not
on
what you say, it's
songs,
how you say it.
everybody will say the lyrics completely different, and they like the song. Oh, I thought he said, and no, he said it was that. No, bro, I googled it.
Exactly.
I don't like it because I have the same emotion.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
But that's
emotions.
but it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. It doesn't matter. Is
Mm-hmm.
the transference of energy is all that matters. Like you said, because some people don't even know the lyrics correctly. The
Mm-hmm.
whole time they could be 10 years and they thought it said something totally different. And then come to realize when they read the lyrics on Google, oh, this is the
I've
song.
been saying it wrong this whole
Yeah,
time. Yeah.
no, the song is
Mm-hmm.
about totally something different. I thought it was about
Mm-hmm.
this. And it's just the emotion. But you see that in selling also. When people sell from the stage, they
Mm-hmm.
got to get you hyped up. They got to get you in a certain what do they call it? A certain state. In a certain
Mm-hmm.
state. Your body has to be in a certain state in order for them to be able to close you.
Mm-hmm.
You know? They got to get you hyped up. They got
I
to
went
get you on
to,
edge.
I'm not going to shout out the people, right? But I went to a seminar a couple years ago. Alex, Don Rosario, do you remember? You came with me. You only went for 1 day, I think it was.
Yeah, I went with you.
But there was a day you didn't come with me. It was like a 3-day event. And I know they're trying to sell you on their course, which was like a $30,000 course. And I'm like, I'm just coming here to hear the free information that I can go back and apply to my life. But I'm not letting you know that, right? So I go for the 3 days, and they have, I think on the second day or whatever the case is, they had this like therapy session, right? And because the whole marketing point is they need you to feel like you gain some valuable insights, you feel different about your life, about everything, about past traumas, whatever it is, in order for you to be like, yeah, I can invest in this company. I'm really willing to drop 50 grand right now. Like that's what they want you
Feels
to
right.
feel. Feels right. So they had this exercise where it was all mental. You have this bow and arrow, and they set everybody up in groups. You weren't there that day, right?
No.
Okay, so they had the arrow, and what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to put the metal piece, the point of the arrow, right in this little hole right here in your neck. One point goes here, and the other person opposite of you is gonna hold the end of the arrow, and is gonna push as far as they can go into your neck. That's the whole thing. And it's like, what? You trying to kill me? But the theory is it's just mental, because you think you're going to get hurt, but in reality, apparently that part of your neck is actually very strong, and it actually bends and snaps the arrow in half. And that's what happened with me. And so what they had us do was, on that arrow, they had us write everything that I forget. I have the arrow in the attic actually, because I saved it and I framed it because it was a really like a nice experience to have. And it was, you had to think about all the things that you have accomplished, all the things you want to overcome, all those things. You wrote a few things on, like 3 different things on the arrow, and you were breaking past. That's what you were doing. All those negative things that you were dealing with, things that happened to you in your life, that you've experienced, you wrote them down, and you were trying to break through that arrow which was of significance of those events. And it was all mental. People sitting there crying, crippled on the floor. I can't do it. No. And then other people like taking it full on, bam, right there, bam, right there, bam. And some people needed a little bit longer because they had to think about it like, all right, people are doing it. All right, nobody's dying. All right, I'll do it. So that's kind of the effect that it had. But then when you really think about it after it's all done, you're like, damn, it didn't hurt. What was the pause for? Like, why are we so scared? For what reason? Why are we sitting here crippled on the corner crying about something that is not going to hurt us? The thought of it is hurting us more than how it physically will. And it's all emotions that we place upon ourselves, really.
Yeah.
I don't dig it. I don't know what I.
Sorry, I'm over here in the wild. I have no control.
But you know, the emotions is funny because Teodoro, right? His Sentimiento CD. And I'm gonna freaking, there's 10 songs on that CD, and I'll big up that CD because man. But every time I listen to that CD, it reminds me of, because it's I was looking up some stuff, and it was telling me how it helps with the memory and with stroke victims and everything. It helps them put together words and all that stuff, but it helps a lot with the memory. And it brings back up emotions, and it brings you right back, like what I said originally with Aretha Franklin, where it's like it's transportive. You know, you can go back to a place. Every time I listen to that CD, what goes into my mind was, Richie, you, Willie, myself, and Julito, we're all in. Daddy will probably get mad. I didn't say and I, whatever. But so we were all in the yellow Mustang, riding out. The convertible, whatever, we were all riding out and everything. We were blasting Teodoro, and all of us, like, to the top of our lungs, we were all freaking singing like the whole thing, word for word and everything. And that feeling that I get, to me, it's like I constantly go back to that. And even when I think about them at times, it's like I go back to that also, because it's like I love that feeling that you get. Is it can make you, even with the heartbreaks and all that stuff, when you're listening to certain things, sometimes I personally feel like unless you feel the feelings, you can't get over it. Unless you go through the situation, you can't get over it. So if being therapeutic, if you're listening, you're going through a breakup, you're going through some situations, you're listening to some music that is enhancing those feelings, you're feeling it even more now. Now it's to a point where you're like, damn, now, like, eventually, I mean, I'm pretty sure you'll get over that and you'll be all right and everything. But then you went through it, at least, and you got to the other side.
Yeah, but that's what you said.
It helps you process it.
It helps you process it, but some people refuse to get over it, is a thing. They go, it could be something that happened to them when they were 16 and they're 70, talking about some dude that cheated on them. I'm like, yo, bro, you're 70 years old. You got married like 15 times. What does this have to do with Jonathan? It doesn't have nothing to do with him.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't get attached to certain feelings, certain things, and they just don't get over it. But that's something else. That's something that, with a pain body, people just like sit there and stay stuck on something that affected them like that. Even nowadays, people don't realize sometimes they act a certain way when somebody says something to them or whatever it was, but they're not reacting to that person that's in front of them. They're reacting to Jonathan from years ago.
So
it's like
from the emotion that they had when it first happened, or something similar happened to them years ago. They're like, oh, I remember that happened to me one time, and that didn't end well, so it's never going to end well. It's like, dude, that's not every situation. There's always an opportunity for so many different scenarios to play out.
Just to clear the record, my son's name is Jonathan, and I know you know.
Well,
about to end this right here.
Son, wait, I wanted to ask you guys a question though, because I was thinking about something. You say your son, but then you have a daughter. Alex has a daughter. Jessica has a daughter. I have a daughter, right? And then you know how you guys said something about WAP, right?
Yeah.
You know Mr. Freak Nasty, right?
Freak Nasty, no, I don't know him personally. Actually. Okay. I don't want to know him.
But you
no, thank you.
But you guys heard Freak Nasty, and I think all of y'all heard Freak Nasty,
Mhm.
right? And
Mhm.
and I've been going back and forth about whether I should put it out or not, for the simple fact that we all have
We have
daughters and
kids,
everything. We have
yeah,
a
and
lot
then
of, it's not, but I was thinking about it too, and the fact is there's certain music that is grown folks music, and it is grown folks
Mhm.
music. And also
Mhm.
there's a lot of music that's going to be out there anyways, whether you want them to listen to it or not,
Mhm.
regardless. So
Mhm.
that starts running through my head, and I'm like, because I don't want to influence or try to be on no other stuff. But then again, what that song does entail is really also about like the polyamorous lifestyle and all that stuff. So it's like, and that's something different.
So how
Which,
would you feel if she was like 18, she turned 18 and she was like, Dad, I'm gonna get it. What was that? What is, not the polyamorous, but the other one? The other one is more acceptable if you're a woman, right? Because you'd be like, all right, fine. But if you in a
polyandry.
polyamorous, yeah, and you got like, the dude got like 15 other girlfriends, how would you feel about your daughter getting into a relationship or a marriage or something, a situation? I wouldn't say a triangle because that's more of a triangle. I don't know how many, a hectagon or something with someone else.
Honestly, there's what can I say? What can I say? What can I do? How about these women that are jumping out there on stage? Daddy, I want to be a stripper.
Mhm.
How would they feel? Like, I can't,
Mhm.
what am I really gonna say? I can't tell you unless I'm at that place. But at the same time, I also do know that all I could really do is instruct her as much as I can while I'm with her now, and then try to help her make the best decisions that she can today, and like try to instill certain things in her where maybe that won't be the path that she'll decide to take. But the
Mhm.
fact
But
is, I
here's
need to
the
let her know.
question.
What's that?
I'm sorry. The question is, I believe that it's best to be the same regardless
Mhm.
overall in life, because, for example, if you're not too keen to have that as your daughter following that path, but yet it's fine for other people's daughter to do it with you, it's like, which standard is it? Is it going to be two different standards, or is it going to be like, it's
Because
okay? And if my daughter's like, I'm not crazy about it because my daughter's like, shit, but I guess whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or is it, nah, but I want to do this. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but
That's my question.
that's why I'm trying to get at. I'm like, if for some reason that's what she wants to do or whatever it is, what can I say? If that's like the whatever lifestyle it is that I want to have, if my child wants to have that lifestyle, I can't say nothing.
no,
I
of course
can't.
not.
It's,
Mhm.
I'm a big hypocrite if I say no. You
Mhm.
can't do what I say, not what I do. Like, that's
Mhm.
retarded. Even though a lot of people do that, and a lot of people say that.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, when to answer your question with that, Jessica, if she's at that point and she tells me that, it's like, what can I say? That's what I mean. I'm
Mhm.
like, what can I say? I'm not gonna be like, no, you can't walk my path, you can't walk the way I want to walk, and like, nah, I can't do that. Is you're gonna do whatever it is that you want to do. I've heard like so many different people that even if you have three individuals in the same household raised with the same stuff, right? One may turn out to be gay, the other one may turn out to be a womanizer, and the other one may turn out to be a monk. I don't know.
But
So
no,
it's
but
like,
I think with that whole perspective you just said, just because they're under the same roof doesn't mean anything, because they were all born under different circumstances, different situations. Um, they all have different environments. They all don't have the exact same life. They all have different
Even different
friends. They're
perspectives.
exposed. Yeah, different perspectives. They have their own personal lives that are not intertwined with everyone else. I wasn't with you 24/7 watching everything you're watching when you're hanging out with your friends, you doing your own life. I wasn't there constantly all the time, so I can't sit here and say, oh, we should have been exactly the same.
no,
But
we're not
No.
gonna
even
be
if
exactly
you
the same.
were, even if you were in the exact same place, always raised, it's different. And for example, if you're a first child and a second child next to them, and then the other one, for example, playing the video game, the other one's watching them play the video game, they both enjoying it, but it's a different dynamic. If
That's what I'm
I'm
saying.
messing with girls and I'm watching them mess with girls, you know what I'm saying? It's a different
It's
perspective, even
different.
though you're in the same place and you were
Mm-hmm.
raised the same way and you're in the exact same place always together, but it's
Mm-hmm.
different. Being an observer and doing is two different things. That's why they heavily.
I don't believe too much in censorship.
Mhm.
I don't believe in censorship, but I do believe to a certain point you do have to guard your kids to a certain extent. You
Mhm.
know, I don't believe in the extreme of guarding them too much, but I don't believe in the guard and the in like
Just
don't
letting it run
yeah,
rampant.
just like letting them do whatever the
Uh,
hell they want
uh,
without no supervision or nothing. I believe like there's like a sort of like a middle.
a
It can
medium.
never. There's a medium. It can never be a
Mhm.
perfect medium, but there has to be a medium because you know that's what kids are missing. You said it before. Like if you're missing one parent or you're missing
Mhm.
both parents,
Mhm.
you see that the kid's life turn out a little bit harder
Mhm.
than usually the one that has two good parents that were actually good parents that were there for them. You know, now you might
Mhm.
have people with two parents that are not there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That happens also, where like one of them is always working, the other one's like, I don't know, in cloud nine somewhere. But when you see people that they have two present parents, you see that those kids are a lot different,
Yeah.
a lot
Mhm.
healthier. They're not perfect, but they're a
Mhm.
lot
Nobody is. Nobody
yeah.
is. But
Nobody,
that
there's no
that's
such
the
thing to,
thing.
but they're healthier in
Mhm.
a lot of things. So I think the music like WAP, do I agree with it? I don't agree with it. Do I like the beat? I love the beat. Do I love the flow? I love the
That song
flow.
is catchy.
I
That's a
don't.
catchy song.
I don't listen to it. There was one time I was in the car, and sometimes when I'm in the car by myself, I listen to some things that I wouldn't listen when Lily's in the car. So there's things where sometimes people curse, whatever, and I'm no big deal, whatever. And then I remember she's in the car, I change it really quick the minute I hear something about to happen. And so I remember one day I'm turning through stations, a song finishes, and that song came up on the radio. And Lily was like, "Oh, turn it up. I like it." And I was like, "What? What do you know about this song?" Not happening. Sorry. You better not know. You better erase it from your memory. Not happening in this car. But you have to realize they get exposed to music through friends, through they have an outside world. We can't control them nor monitor them 24/7. You know, we're not Hitler or whatever the case is. We can't be that way. Our job is to raise them. Our job is to raise them from the minute they're born till 18 is debatable, right? Because when they're 18 they start making their own decisions at some point anyways, but from 0 to about 16, 18 is your job to every day instill them. I would say the real narrow down is 1 to 7. 1 to 7, you put those important principles in them constantly and you make that foundation really strong.
Yeah.
It unless something traumatic happens to their life and stuff like that, that is how your child is going to continue to live their life.
I looked into something and it said that from 1 to 5 actually, but from 1 to 5 that you like the way what they pick up and what goes on with them in life from 1 to 5 normally that depends on how they're gonna turn out. But look, I know that we can continue going and we're gonna continue going because this is not just a little, but we'll probably be here for like another 4 or 5 hours. And
I need to use the bathroom. I can't be over here all day.
You
I've
ain't
been
got no
drinking.
cup?
I'm drinking too
I
much
told you to
tea.
bring a cup. I told you to bring a cup. What happened? Like,
I don't have a urinal. Where am I supposed to put it?
nah. But we'll continue with this another day, and we're gonna definitely continue going. Right? There was the link in the description to find everybody to figure out who's who and to try to see what we up to and what's going on. But regardless, we're gonna continue. Right? Just not right now. So thank you guys for even watching, for even looking at the stuff, or even being here right now. Right? And thank you guys for thank you guys for actually taking your time to do this with us. All right. I appreciate y'all.
And we like to say thank you to our special guests.
I will send you my my bill in the mail. Okay, no problem.
Love y'all. All right.
Love you guys.
Love you guys. Take care, man.
Take care.